So we'll call to order the meeting for Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. And we'll start with the acknowledgement of treaties of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you. Walalan. Next is the oath of office. We do hereby accept the office of council and will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the duties of the office as may be imposed upon us by law. Next is a motion or the moment of reflection, Deputy Mayor.
Moment of reflection for February 2026. We have Randall James Hutton Randy of Beldoon, George Arnold of Doyleville, Malcolm Mackey Hickey of Beldoon, Opal DePlacy of Lorne, Eugenia Levine of Lorne, John Corrier of Lorne, Leona Mary Levine, formerly of Lorne, and Mason Corrier of Nash Creek.
Could we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to make a couple of changes, if I may, Your Worship. Number one, I would highly recommend to Council that the discussion concerning the Montana investigation be removed from the agenda, because I'm sure Council has received exactly the same emails that I have had based on recommendations from our legal advisors that discussions that pertain to any legal proceedings should not be discussed by public, by Council. So I'm suggesting we remove that from the agenda, and I'm also suggesting that the request to have a discussion concerning the forensic audit on the municipal building be tabled until next month, giving our CAO time to discuss with our legal partners as to whether or not that also applies as a conflict within the discussions concerning the legalities of the lawsuits that are against Council.
Council?
Yep, I have something to say on the item about the Montana report. We also received advice from the Local Governance Commission that those reports are not to be kept private. There is no legal matter regarding the contents of the Montana report that I'm asking to be released to the public. It's a code of conduct violation that was investigated. The allegations and the findings are should be open to the public.
Anyone else?
I'd like to remove the procurement procedure also because of the same reason. I would like to have that removed from the agenda.
So what's being removed?
As far as I see, it's 6.6.1, 6.6.2, and 9.1.
I would suggest at this stage, Your Worship, that you take each item one at a time to see if Council so choose to remove them.
So that, did you mention 6.1.1 or 6.1.2? Both of those? Okay. All right, let's just go through them.
The request is to table that motion to next week. pending that our CAO get legal advice to see if it falls within the legalities of the,
Sorry, she did mean 661 and 662. I thought she said I thought she was talking about procurement policy.
Yeah, can we just go through all those and just see what? We'll just go through all of them and see what council wants to do. Okay, so the first one was the proceedings of council bylaw amendment discussion. How many wish to have that removed? Okay, so that's days. Next, the 6.1.2, the procurement policy and legislation, roles and responsibilities. How many wish to have that removed? Got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 6.1.2 will be removed. 6.6.1, how many wish to remove?
that was to table until,
My apologies, to table, So we have 3?
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
661 to be tabled, giving our CAO time to confirm with legal if that falls within the parameters of our legal discussions in the lawsuit.
So that would be 6.6.1. Hands to remove? Tabled, my excuse. 6.6.2. Discussion on releasing the findings of the second Montana investigation. To remove?
I have a question on that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The question is, like Councillor Burke said earlier, we all got the same email about legalities. So if this has anything to do in those legalities, it falls under the same thing. Am I correct? Okay.
And I'm going to point out, it does not. The allegations in that report have absolutely nothing to do with a current legal situation with the Village of Baldoon. Absolutely nothing. There's not a single allegation that ties anything to that lawsuit.
Okay. Okay, so that one's off, 6.6.2 is off, and what was the other one? 9.1, the forensic audit of municipal building, was that a table? It's a table, okay. So, in review, we have on the agenda, we have 6.1.1 to remain. We have all of the administration reports. We have 8.1, which is to remain, and 9.2, which is to remain. That's what I have. Okay,
The motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
yes,
Change?
yes. So can I get a motion to adopt the agenda with changes?
M 2026-02-17-16, that the agenda be adopted with the changes.
You got a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Statements of conflict of interest are to be made with the clerk. Adoption of the minutes, regular council meeting, 19th of January 2026. That the minutes of the regular meeting of January 19th, 2026 be adopted as presented.
M 2026-02-17-17, that the minutes of the regular meeting of January 19, 2026 be adopted as presented.
And a seconder?
I'll second.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Presentations, petitions, and delegations, we have 2, starting with Brenda Cormier.
Sorry, just real quickly, Council, we are having some technical difficulties with the display at the back. So there are two presentations. One of them will be shared on the screen. Clerk Treasurer was able to add them to your agenda packages. So if you do have them on your laptop, you'll be able to see the presentation. But if you don't have it in front of you, you might have to contort yourself to see the screen behind us.
On. First, I would like to thank Council for allowing me to address you this evening as a follow-up to the Committee of Whole meeting on February 2nd, 2026, and Mayor Arsenault's agenda item 2021 financial statement, auditor management letter. While I was allowed to address Council after the adjournment, it was not on the public record, and I wish to do so now. As I noted at the meeting, I decided to attend the February 2nd, 2026 meeting when I saw the above-mentioned agenda item and anticipated that it was going to be an attempt to discredit me and portray to the public that I had did things wrong while employed at the Village of Beldoon Clerk Treasurer. I was not at the February 2nd, 2026 meeting for any other reason and had no other personal interest in any other agenda item. Again, I will thank Councillor Robinson for her knowledge and understanding of the pre-audit process and the statement she made to clarify the process. While this may be a more thorough response now that I had the time to prepare one, the gist of what I said at the February 2nd, 2026 meeting is the same. As I briefly referenced that evening, the audit process goes through a number of questionnaires, which as treasurer I need to complete about revenue, expense, possible fraud, legal actions, etc. As well, other questionnaires or interviews are required of others, such as the mayor speaking on behalf of council, CAO and other staff members if they are involved in any of the financial business, collecting money, sales, procurement process, and so forth. Mayor Arsenault had two main talking points from the management letter: the signing off on expense forms and the non-compliance with procurement purchasing policy. And yet he and Chris Kingston, interim CAO in 2022, could not understand why the management letter stated the books and the records are in excellent condition and it is evident that they are being maintained on a timely basis. My opinion is that they were going out of their way to try and find something that they felt implicated me in some wrongdoing. Why would he, an interim CAO hired in May 2022, after the audit was completed and approved by council, need this for? I will add that there was no questions or comments from council when the financial statement was presented by the auditing firm at a public council meeting where Mayor Arsenault then sat as a council member. As I stated that evening, it was myself that reported such discrepancies to the auditor, as I was required to do so during the pre-audit interviews. As for the signed timesheets and expense form, there was no concrete policy or procedure in place to follow to say how this was to be done and by whom. As well, I was not the person responsible for a purchasing process, so non-compliance was not my issue. I would often request documentation in relation to quotes, tenders, etc., but often did not get, and some internal emails would show this. The auditing firm was not able to get as well as they stated in the letter. Yes, the Village of Beldoon has a purchasing policy, and in that document it shows authority, approval, lead role is council, CAO, and it shows responsibility as clerk treasurer, but it nowhere in the document does it explain specifically what that responsibility is. Since 2009, council has had a CAO on staff for the most part, and if they review the minutes of the meeting starting then, the CAO took on the responsibility for purchasing and procurement. That is very evident in the minutes. The purchasing and procurement recommendations came from the CAO for approval by council. It has never been questioned during all that time by council, not this one, the previous one, the one before that, and the one before that, whether this was the CAO's responsibility. They would not only accept, but I would say to even expect this was the responsibility of the CAO. In fact, if I again refer to the minutes of the meeting, you will see that council often gave directives specifically to the CAO to proceed to get quotes or go to public tender, as well as on several occasions gave directives to the CAO to review the purchasing bylaw for amendments or changes, but to my knowledge was not completed. Even as early as May 2022, Council, with interim CEO Kingston was employed, passed the motion M 2022-05-16-81, giving authorization to the CAO to purchase from any vendor to a maximum of $10,000 without having to ask Council for authorization. I would say that this indicates that Council expected the purchase to be the responsibility of the CAO. My responsibility, therefore, was to pay the appropriate invoices, record and maintain the financial records for the municipality. What was not disclosed by the mayor is that there is a second letter that goes to the mayor and council from the auditing firm, and I will quote one sentence from that letter. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the municipality's financial reporting process. I am not governance. The elected officials are the governance body to make sure the appropriate policies and procedures are in place to allow staff to perform their duties beyond provincial legislative duties. To restate, the Village of Beldoon had a CAO system since 2009, and according to the local governance organizational structure, the CAO is the only employee of the council, yet nothing was done to address policy procedure shortfalls. This was not my failing. I was employed with the municipality for nearly 30 years, with approximately 27 in the role of clerk-treasurer. I took the business and the finances of Beldoon very seriously and worked with what I had and did my job. I respectfully ask that despite what council members may feel about me personally, that they do not let it overshadow the statement I have made this evening. I'll thank you once again for council for allowing me my presentation and the opportunity of clearing any misconceptions that I did something wrong, as was implied in Mayor Arsenault's trumped-up insinuations. I would also ask that my statement be included in the minutes as part of the public record. I will provide a copy to the clerk-treasurer by email tomorrow, and I would like it kept for public record and for anybody that wishes to see it. Thank you very much.
Council, anyone have any questions? I just have a statement. CEO Kingston was mentioned a lot of times tonight. Chris Kingston came in May of 2022 in a tough situation, one of the toughest situations you could ever find yourself in. And he did tremendous work. He did tremendous work on behalf of the village. And we did have concerns. And we followed those concerns up, as was his job to do. So, Chris Kingston, to be, if you want to talk about me or come after me, that's one thing. The guy right there sitting in the corner, one of the finest gentlemen I have ever met.
I only brought up Mr. Kingston's name because you brought it up in your statement on that night. Otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned him. You mentioned him. I just followed up, so thank you very much.
Well, you're absolutely 100% welcome. And I'll reiterate what I just said. You're never going to find a finer gentleman. Whatever questions and concerns I had, he obviously felt the same. Because we both, that's one. If you interrupt 3 times, I'm calling the RCMP to come in to this building and have you removed. That's 2. Chris Kingston, a fine, fine man who didn't deserve what he got. And I mentioned that last week too. The abuse, the insubordination that he took, no one else would have taken it.
I will
He's a
second
gentleman.
that. I will second that also, Your Worship.
100%.
Well, I want to say it this way. I was never insubordinate to Mr. Kingston. And in fact, which I wouldn't have brought up this evening, except you're going down that road, so I will. Why was it that on December 1st or 2nd, it was a Friday afternoon, when Mr. Kingston came down from Dalhousie, because he was up there for a few days, he made a special trip down from Dalhousie, presented me with a letter making all these claims, which I asked him to go through each one and respond, and he did. Why was it then the next morning at my house on Saturday, around 10 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from Mr. Kingston telling me that he hadn't slept all night, that he had an epiphany. And he asked me to meet him here at this office, which I did on a Saturday out in the main entrance, and apologized profusely for truthfully to me, for having did what he did to me. So why did he do that?
He'll have to ask Mr. Kingston. He'll have to answer for himself, but I can tell you this. I did. I absolutely brought up his name because it was being tarnished for absolutely no reason. This gentleman here, when he came in May of 2022, did absolutely his best. His best. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know. Yeah, you do. You do. You absolutely know. And to tarnish this man, I will not allow that. I will not allow Chris Kingston's name to be tarnished. You want to come after me? Come after me. It's happened for 3 years. Leave him be. He had enough. In November of 2022, a son in palliative care, a son-in-law in palliative care, and a wife with cognitive decline, facing the abuse that that man faced and the insubordination that he faced. A great man, deserved better, and didn't get it. Next up, that's 3. For a second. Give me a second.
Well, we should all stick together. We should make them arrest us all. Because that's what they did in Ontario. When they tried to put one person out, they all stuck together.
I'm going to call a recess council. I'm going to call this, and I'll be back. We're going to continue our recess, and we'll re-adjourn momentarily.
I believe your motion to have a recess is subject to a first and seconder and is open to debate. So you can't just recess the meeting.
Have I disturbed anybody's peace?
Haven't disturbed mine.
She's not made the proceedings of bylaw. She did it around 3 times and I gave her a warning, so.
I asked the questions.
There's a period for questions, so just wait for a period for questions, please. All right.
Thank you very much, officer.
Beg your pardon? Yes, please proceed. Very kind. Next time I'll take it.
And we have another presenter this evening, Mr. Andre Frenette.
Plug that, yeah. Okay, usually it's gonna be
Your file explorer here.
here, yeah.
Give this a second.
I don't know if we have a, okay. So voulez-vous analyser, séparer? So I need to say yes, it's just like firewall, just to make sure. Click.
Click on click share for Windows. Give it 1 second, you'll get a thing come up on the bottom.
Avec succès, aucun problème, so there's no problem. So,
Give me 1 second.
connects.
Connection. 1 second. And then once this connects, you can go back to your presentation.
And do I have to F7 or something like that, or?
No, no. It'll mirror your, okay, so now go back to your presentation. Okay, now I'm gonna press this and give me 1 second.
All right.
Andre, apologize for. If you can continue.
We just gonna. Super. All right. Well, Mr. Mayor, members mixed two. He was only able to have 15 instead of his request 16 because he lost all 16 because he lost all his unit